He was the one who had darkness all along. All right, and here we go, spawning up in the top right position of Jagannatha. It is Elazer in the red.
And his opponent in the blue trunks in the lower left-hand corner. It is Vanya.
And we do have Elazer as... Oh, let me bring it up here. Is a member of Ago Esports. XCOM
yes.
Ago.
He's been with them for quite a while, actually. And as far as I know, he's the only player, the only StarCraft player on that team that I've seen, anyways.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe so. So how much do you know about ZVZ in general?
I'd say I'm fairly confident in ZVZ, but you are a Zerg player. You're a high-level Zerg player. So I imagine that your knowledge is top tier.
I like to, delude myself into thinking I know a thing or two, but then I'll watch a Bly series and I'm like, oh, you know what? I actually don't know anything about this matchup after all.
Well, Bly doesn't play Zerg, so it's okay.
he does.
He just plays a different game entirely, actually. He's playing Warcraft 3.
Yeah. Honestly, if you told me he was playing Warcraft 4, I would believe you. Like,
maybe that's what it is.
I could believe that he's playing a game that hasn't come out yet, because that's the only way that for so long he can play so weird and still make it work.
There's something beautiful about that. I don't know what to expect from this series, though. I feel like I haven't watched a lot of ZVZs with these players recently. I feel like I can tell you a lot of what Vanya might do against a Protoss, but against a Laser, are you going to want to stick on Ling Bane? Are you going to try to get into Roaches? I feel like a Laser is the kind of player who mid-game Roaches is going to be his comfort zone. And he's going to be very good at that. I don't know if Vanya wants to fully compete with him on those terms.
Yeah, I think I'm so okay. Said a whole lot of nothing there. Vanya is one of those players who does actually enjoy some two-base plays, but on this current map set, two-base plays are not all that powerful in this matchup. So that may be why we're seeing someone like Bly, struggle a little bit more in this matchup. Going into two-base Roach, into weird like Muta plays are a little bit more difficult to pull off. So you are kind of pushed towards this third hatch play, just because many of the maps are a little bit bigger. Many of the maps, the third base is a little bit farther away, so you want to get the third hatch quicker. You want to go into Ling Bane, and that's exactly what we're seeing both players doing here. Elazer did go for a few more drones first, so Vanya is going to be putting on a little bit of pressure. It's funny, he did go hatch pool gas just for a little bit of safety against 12 pools, it looks like. But it's actually going to be Elazer moving across the map here. Vanya built like safety lings before his opponent attacked. So it means
he was ready. He knew. He was like, I'm gonna have to build a handful of lings, and he's got some Banes back at home. But it looks like it's the respect amount of lings, right? Elazer started moving across, pulled back when he saw some lings out there. Now he's gonna be on the defensive a little bit, but I actually think this is gonna be kind of a wash, and we get to see where the players want to tech to from here. +1 missile attacks and Roach Warren started up for Elazer. That doesn't really surprise me, and Vanya dropping his own Roach Warren. We'll see what upgrade he starts, but I wouldn't be surprised to see missile attacks as well.
Yeah, but it's the expected value for sure. You can go like +1 melee into mutas, but like you said, it's going to be that +1 missile. We aren't seeing a layer just yet from either player. That is usually the indicator of whether we're going to see, a big bust, or if we're just going to see macro. Oh, whoa, that was flirting with disaster. Oof.
Oh,
Anyone else's blood pressure just go up? That was that just me?
Yeah, I could feel that one. My heart had a palpitation, I think, during that. But yeah, like you said, no lair here for Elazer. Vanya has started his, so he's planning on moving forward, but we're crossing the 5-minute mark, and there's just roaches on the way for Elazer right now.
That there is.
He might just be moving across the map in a minute.
Oh, man, he's going to be schmoving real quickly. It is going to be that +1 missile finishing a fair bit faster, actually, here for... Oh, Elazer, and he's going to get into the natural expansion. This is brutal. The Banelings were out of position. Oh, they will get some pretty big detonations, but 11 drones going down, and this is already equalized. So if Elazer didn't push now, he could just get a layer and tech out of this.
Yeah, honestly, he could just get a layer behind this and be in a fine position. I don't like these roaches being out here on their own. They need their friends to join up with them. There's a bunch more lings and roaches on the way across the map. No roach speed does make it a little hard to get the roaches here in quick order. But there's no roach speed on the way for Vanya either. He can't afford it right now. He needs to just make units.
Yeah, this is going to be a really tough defense. We have both players morphing in a ton of Banelings here. We could actually just see a bunch of Banelings detonate a bunch of other Banelings. Oh, nice splits coming in from both players. Oh, but it's going to be Vanya taking some huge hits on his roaches. And Elazer, he is absolutely steamrolling through, even though the supplies are similar for now. The roaches had so little HP, and I think we're going to see, at the very least, a lot of drones go down at this third base.
Yeah, this third base is getting absolutely wrecked. And just like we were talking about, Elazer's macroing behind this. He made a handful of drones. He's got a lair. He's not all in with this. He doesn't need to kill Vanya. He's already done the damage. And I don't know if Vanya can get enough roaches out to actually hold. There's more roaches coming out for Elazer. He's just going to keep moving across the map and making Vanya's life hard.
And even some nice target fire there on those roaches of Vanya's. Vanya gets a nice low health roach there, but if you take a look at the battle report after all is said and done, 21 roaches went down for Vanya, only 8 for Elazer. This is... Oh, man. This game feels very over. It would take a huge miracle for Vanya to come back. And he doesn't have any miracle worker units. Oh, and he's even going to get caught out of position here with this roach force. Now, this could be a little bit awkward where actually it's Elazer potentially getting trapped, but no, there are more reinforcements coming in. Ravager's getting target fire down, dodges the biles, and that's going to be GG.
That's it. Very powerful push there from Elazer. Vanya just not quite ready for it. He had a little bit of time to prepare, but it wasn't enough to get the units out he needed. And that Ling run by, I think, really just... Oh, that was brutal. If the Lings hadn't gotten in, he could have afforded to lose a handful of drones. You know, he had the lair up earlier. He could have definitely still utilized that tech to his advantage. But going down, equalizing on drones while he's already behind in units, it just wasn't pretty from there on.
Yeah, that was... You said it best. The Ling slipping into the natural was too much. It was too much. It already justified the attack before the attack happened, which should never happen in a properly played game of StarCraft. You know, no, yes, right, and proper. Anytime that happens, it's a bad situation for the defender. And Elazer basically at that point just got a free attack, and the attack itself did the damage that he needed to on top of the initial free damage he'd gotten.
Yeah, the attack did pretty well. Again, though, if those Lings hadn't gotten in, losing some drones at the third, Vanya was able to push the roaches away. If he maintained a pretty equal drone count, I think he's fine there. But, yeah, those Lings really changing the game. That was 12 drone kills. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, not even really close after that point. Vanya did his best to hold on, but you're looking at just such a brutal position from that point, and we'll have to see if he can make some adjustments here in game number 2, or if Elazer's going to get another quick 2-0. And here we go, spawning up in the top left, coming in with a cheeky 12 pool. It is the Blue Zerg player, Vanya.
His opponent down in the lower right. No inclination that there's already a spawning pool being made. For XCOM Ego, it is Elazer.
XCOM Ego, I like that. Lego my XCOM Ego. It does.
That's right. A go just seems so clunky when you're trying to go for those syllables.
It does really, you're right, it does really roll off the tongue though with like the Ego. Like instead of Ago. Ago is, yeah, it's kind of clunky. We are going to be seeing a hatch first, by the way. Are you familiar with the 12 pool versus hatch first situation?
You know what? I've played enough Zerg games on ladder to know to have been on both sides of this before. I think a lot of it depends on how much Vanya commits to the 12 pool and how much Elazer expects him to commit. If it's just 6 or 8 lings coming across the map, putting some pressure on, you can just pull some drones, you get a few lings out, you're totally fine. Every now and then we see players just keep making lings. And there comes a point where Elazer could make the mistake of thinking it's over and 10 more lings show up.
Yeah. And there's even a few different variants of this where you can go, you know, pull the boys with this and just YOLO with some spine crawlers and try and end the game a la Dark. Or you can get a cheeky gas behind this, like while you're building the 12 pool, and then you just do a speedling all in, you never drone up. But this is going to be a much more standard macro-oriented build. We are going to be seeing Elazer pulling 14 drones against this Vanya. We'll get on top of these. Nice micro from Elazer so far. Ooh, does lose a drone. You want to keep these stacked as much as possible.
Drones, but you need to really try to take good fights here until the lings start coming out. This is just to distract the lings of Vanya from being able to just kill this hatch. They need to fight the drones. And now it looks like Elazer has enough out to hold this off. The queen's about to pop. And yes, it is just macro from Vanya behind this. He wasn't expecting to win the game with it. Just trying to get a little damage done and maybe make Elazer's build feel a little wonky.
Ooh, nice readjustment here, but the aggregate health is too high for Elazer. Oh man, it was 7 Zerglings to 6, and Vanya thought that he could take the fight there, but you got to look at aggregate HP when you're looking at Zergling versus Zergling fights. And I was just going to say, this actually completely evens the game, but then Vanya loses a few of his Zerglings right there, and it's still pretty close to even. It's not going to be something that's game-ending, but you never want to lose that. You always want to be able to scout and at least contest your opponent's map control. That being said, Elazer, he did go double queen right away, so he's going to have a big round of drones popping out with that inject. Ooh, he's also going to go after these Zerglings here and the queen. Or sorry, and the Overlord, I should say.
Yeah, and there's nothing to stop him getting that. Both players starting speed at around the same time, which I think is good for Vanya. A lot of times with the 12 pool, your speed's later than your opponent's. But it looks like it's going to be pretty even. Vanya's going to go for a wall in front of his natural anyways.
Yeah, he's actually going to play a little bit cheekily here. Oh,
ooh,
yes. Yes. Okay, so
this is going to be full cheek. This is full cheek.
Yep.
He's going to bamboozle Elazer into thinking it's just roaches coming out +1, kind of standard play. And I expect him to make a huge round of lings.
Very good chance we'll see a huge round of lings. Could also lead into mutas in the future. I mentioned the 2-base play that Vanya is well known for this. He is well known for going 2-base Roach, or 2-base Muta, or 2-base Nidus with Roach. This is something that's a little bit of a mix-up, and is a really smart decision with his reputation. It looks like it is going to be +1 melee lings, most likely into mutas.
Yeah,
now,
he's got that lair in that 3rd base starting up.
Oh, we are going to see a nice little surround.
Oh, he doesn't quite get the queen yet, but a bunch more lings showing up, and +1's not done for a long time, so Vanya gonna need to get out a lot of defensive lings, and he really wants to make sure Elazer isn't able to get into that main and see the early lair. It's gonna be very clear what's going on. In fact, with this many lings, it might already be kind of clear. No roaches.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Oh, I was just gonna say there's no roaches out just yet, so Elazer's gonna be thinking it's a little sus.
Yes. Even seeing ling speed might be enough to tip him off. That being said, we're going to be seeing an all-in from Elazer once again. He's going to be going with 2 gas, no layer, just mass roach, speedling. And his opponent is trying to go Spire, but Vanya does have a lot of +1 melee lings. And, well, +1 melee very shortly. Elazer's got to be careful that he doesn't get caught on the map before +1 missile finishes.
Yeah, and there's a really funky thing that can happen here too. Vanya could go for a counterattack when the roaches move across the map.
Yep.
Those roaches don't have speed. Once they're committed across the map, they're going. and a counterattack could be very impactful here. But it's actually a Elazer going for a counterattack. There are those +1 melee lings at home for Vanya, though.
Ooh, I don't think it's quite enough.
Oh, a few more
couple
popping
reinforcements.
Should be okay defensively. Loses the queen. But this is all buying a little bit of time, and now the Spire can finish.
Yeah, and that's going to be so good.
For any amount of time these roaches are waiting to go across the map is really good for Vanya right now.
Yeah, especially since that +1 missile is finished, and Elazer really wants to get something done right here. He is adding on +1 Carapace, but now the mutas are on the way. And this is... 6 mutas will take a little bit of time to kill all these roaches and lings. But, oh, I was just going to say, I would love to see Vanya really shut this down with a nice wall.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a wall. It's only going to buy so much time. There's no spine crawlers or anything, but he is going full-on counterattack. We have ourselves a bit of a base trade on our hands, and I actually think I like Vanya's chance with this. He's got +1 melee lings, and he's got mutas coming out, which means, you know, he's just going to have units that Elazer can't deal with. I don't think Elazer's going to be able to kill every building over here.
No, not a chance. I think this is actually just a game 2 win for Vanya right here. Both players getting knocked down to absolutely tiny drone counts. We've got 7 workers to 4, right? Or 7 workers to 0.
Literally can't build a drone, so he is out. Like, this is it. Elazer is done. These are the units he's going to have for the rest of the game.
And none of them shoots up.
He could cancel Carapace if he tried, but that's it. GG.
Nice moves from Vanya. You really called it with a counterattack. That was the game-winning move. And there was just too much time bought by Vanya, and great play. Trickiness coming in. Cool little series we've got on our hands so far.
Yeah, this is exactly what I was hoping to see. I love the like +1 melee ling muta versus roach dichotomy that you can get in ZVZ. That's when I think ZVZ really shines. You know, it's roach versus roach. It's like, oh, one guy made a few more. All right, games, that's it.
Cool.
But once you get to slightly different unit compositions, you can get different strategies. I just love the way Vanya kept posturing. Oh, I'm going to counterattack. I'm going to counterattack. And it was just to buy time. And then as soon as those roaches go across the map, he actually does counterattack. He says, I know I can win this base trade. Yeah, great play from Vanya there.
Yeah. Gave himself some really, really nice win conditions and ultimately just took them. You know, like, win condition, recognize win. You know, like, it's good. Yep. It's the quote-unquote proper way to play StarCraft 2, you know? Like, creating situations where as long as, you know, like, you're creating a game plan and a path to victory. And I think that's one of those things that is very difficult to quantify, but it was, like, very clearly laid out what was needed to be done and how to do it. From Vanya.
And I think if Elazer had hit a very sharp timing with those roaches in +1, he's a much better shot at winning that game. So it's just that slight back and forth, a little bit of timing that can really affect the outcome of a game.
Absolutely. And we'll have to see if he can make some adjustments in Game 3. Spawning down in the bottom left, representing XCOM Ego, it is Elazer.
And his opponent in the upper right in the blue, it is Vanya.
And it is important to note this all came off of a 12 pool that probably went pretty even, but did create a game state that was a little bit, you know, maybe off kilter.
Yeah, and there are certain expected follow-ups to a 12 pool. Not getting speed, walling, and just going for roaches pretty quickly that's a classic 12 pool follow-up, right? So I think Elazer might have been caught a little off guard with that. At that point, decided he's going to go for a big roach swell again, just like in Game 1. But he switched it up. He got that +1 melee. All of a sudden, a bunch of lings were out, and Elazer might have stuck with his plan a little too long. Yeah.
I think there's a scenario where Elazer can still win the game from that position, but it's going to require like maybe a spine crawler back home, maybe even 2, a full wall, and roaches behind that wall. And that's going to take so much power out of your punch that maybe then just the +1 melee lings, even though they're fighting the +1 missile roaches, maybe they hold at home anyways. And yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like Vanya created such a difficult situation for Elazer, but Elazer also put himself in that situation.
Yeah, and I think at some point it becomes too late for that roach push, which is kind of what we saw. The mutas were too close to being out by the time they hit. Lings were all on the other side of the map for a counterattack. Even if they were at home, they might have been able to win that fight without taking too much damage. And it might have been the right choice. It's hard to say what the right choice is, even with hindsight sometimes, for Elazer to just stay back. Right? He had roaches. That's generally considered the stronger, more robust tech. He had +1 done. He could get into a lair, drop some spore crawlers, and maybe just try to hold against the mutas. The roaches hold the lings. Elazer could have put himself in a good position that game, I think.
Yeah, I would say Elazer definitely could have put himself in a good position, but wasn't able to do so. We are going to be seeing both players taking this pocket base, though. And 2K Atmos is kind of a weird map where you can get really, really aggressive, and there's just so many different attack paths. It can be really tricky to play this map. We are going to be seeing both players going Ling Bane, though.
Yeah, the safety Bane nest coming up.
Yeah.
Don't necessarily think anybody's going to be doing too much Ling Bane aggression, but they're both respecting their opponent's ability to get a lot of damage done early in the game.
Yeah, I would say so. Elazer, once again, with this very, very quick Evo chamber. He did go for that quick +1 in both games. And, oh, sorry, no, that was Vanya. Vanya got the quick thing. I got the players backwards. Vanya's on the top, Elazer's on the bottom. So both players getting an Evo chamber. Vanya's a little bit quicker, but we'll have to see. Is it going to be +1 melee again, or is this going to be +1 missile? Well, there's our answer.
Just going to be missile this time from Vanya, and I do expect missile attacks again from Elazer. But because that Evo's a little bit later, maybe it's not going to be just 3 bases, no lair, and roaches this time from Elazer.
Yeah, I hope not. I hope not, because Elazer is very capable of playing a strong macro game, as we all know.
Yeah.
But this is the kind of thing that you definitely have to... you have to be careful of going for the same style more than twice in a series. Like, if he goes no gas layer all in, like literally 3 games in this series, I'm not going to be mad, but I'm going to be disappointed, you know?
Yeah. Well, I guess it depends on if it works or not, right?
I'll still be disappointed. Oh,
a little
Bane
bit
for Bane.
Back and forth here. You gotta love the Bane trades. Queen is gonna fall, which is unfortunate for Vanya. That's a nice catch for Elazer. Other than that, trades are fairly even.
Yeah. Vanya does lose a couple more. It's funny if you look at the battle report, because it says that Vanya killed 2 of Elazer's Banes.
Yeah.
But not the other way around. It never counts as like when Banelings get when they're the ones attacking.
Yeah, it's always so strange with Banelings how that works.
Yeah.
And like units lost tabs and stuff. You can never fully tell how many Banelings got killed.
By the way, we are seeing a kind of aggressive move out from Vanya with some roaches here, but it's actually Elazer, once again, no layer, gonna be going for this attack. But it's Vanya who's actually... I think Vanya's a little bit ahead here, as long as he doesn't take too much damage. He is down in army supply a little bit, but... Well, yeah, he's got the faster layer.
For Elazer, though. So Elazer is gonna macro, but it looks like he might want to pressure with some roaches first. Because that's a lot of roaches.
Yeah, if he doesn't, that's a weird situation. I think he thought that Vanya was all-inning, but Vanya was actually getting that layer. Now he's getting a Spire on the way.
I think Vanya bluffed him. I think Vanya made it look like he was doing what Elazer's been doing. But really, there's a lair behind it. Now there's a Spire on the way. These Lings are being incredibly annoying. Grab a couple of drones, a Queen. Should be able to get out of here.
Nice stacking, though, with those drones. Prevented the damage from really getting out of hand. That could have been really bad. That could have been like 7, maybe 8 drones dead. But instead, not that bad.
Spire
Vanya
was canceled.
Oh, did it get scouted? It
did.
So. Okay, so that's why he cancels it there. That is a really cool move. Love this trickiness coming out of Vanya right here. The thing is, Elazer, I think he might have figured this out. By the way, very, very funny that because both of them had at least a little bit of a delayed layer, we're seeing +1 Carapace out of both of them. Now, for Elazer, it makes sense because of the mutas, but Vanya, I'm surprised.
I think you're right. I think it was just because his lair wasn't done yet. And he knew he needed to keep up on upgrades. He just went for the Carapace. You know, I think it's a good choice. I think it's better than getting nothing for a long time. Do we have Banelings run by?
Oh, yes, we did. Oh, my goodness. That is 10 drones going down for Elazer. And now Vanya, he finds himself in a great position here. The other thing, because of that Muta Scout, we've got Hydralisk Den and the range upgrade coming on in.
That is just, it's not what you want. He's going to go scout now. I think by now, Elazer knows this isn't coming.
Oh, by now he does.
Right now, he's definitely short. So we shouldn't see any Hydras coming out. You do kind of eventually want to get into Lurkers, so it's not the worst thing, but that is money that's not spent on Roaches and Ravagers. That is not right here. Elazer doesn't have Roach speed yet either. These first couple of engagements, he's a little bit slower to position. Vanya is up in supply, and he's just going to try to muscle his way through Elazer's Roach Force.
Absolutely, and this is looking pretty close, but it looks like the positioning from Vanya might be a little bit too much. Defender's advantage, of course, is going to be better for Elazer here. But Vanya, oh, he takes some big Corrosive Vials, loses one of his Ravagers. Another one almost goes down. It does get target fired by, I think, a Queen or a Roach there. And, ooh, another bit of Corrosive Vials hitting in on Vanya, but Elazer has already suffered a lot of damage. He had to pull the voids. 8 drones went down. Oh, this is going to be so close. Do you think he's going to be able to hold?
He's holding for now, but he is still down quite a bit of supply. If Vanya can get these Roaches out of here, I think he'll be all right. It looks like he will be able to keep retreating with them. He's got a lot of Roaches heading around towards the bottom side, gonna hit in the natural, gonna split his forces up, which is very dangerous. You don't want to take the fights at the wrong time, but he's just going for the run by, going straight into the natural, killing a few Queens and Roaches on the way. He's gonna take down the Roach Warren. And you can't win if you're making Lings right now. Elazer goes to put it back down, but this is a very difficult position for him.
That it is. That makes this very, very tricky. He will go into Hydras here. So this is actually kind of a saving grace for him. Vanya trying to hit with some counter or multi-prong aggression. And, Elazer is going to try and jump on his opponent's army, but he doesn't realize there's more Ravagers behind this. And he is going to take a few losses here on the left.
Yeah, good trade there for Vanya. Vanya's going to push in on the bottom side again. On the right, now that the Roaches of Elazer have gone away. Oh, but the Roaches are coming back. Vanya's kind of just sacking a lot of Roaches in, so he needs to get a lot of damage with them, but he's taking a great fight to the north side. There's just not enough up here for Elazer. He's bringing a few more units down now, but it's too late to win that fight. And the supply gap is huge. 50 army supply in favor of Vanya, and it's looking like he's going to take the 2-1 and keep himself in very good standing in this group.
Yeah, he gives himself an opportunity to... Well, that being said, we are going to see Elazer storm down the ramp, but yeah, no, it's way too little, way too late. GG is going to get called.